Despite what their moms told them, they just aren't talented enough for radio. Unfortunately, anyone can have a show these days. Sean.
Well, I'm pretty hard to figure out sometimes. In fact, I can't even figure myself out sometimes, so don't you try to.
Joe.
You're an idiot and really a disloyal person.
This is the Cuse Militia. Now, those two unapologetically biased orange-blooded homers, Sean and Joe.
It's the most bullshit thing I've seen in 30 years.
Welcome, orange men and ladies. Happy Tuesday. This is the Cuse Militia with Sean and Joe at Cuse Militia on the socials. Go there. Join the militia. Thank you for tuning in and hanging out with us. We appreciate all of you. As promised, a little, call it a little dip. We're going to dip our toe in the tournament, Syracuse region. And I guess we're going to speculate, Joe, because we're not going to have time to come back here, most likely, right? We can promise big, but that just means we're going to deliver less. So why set expectations? Because that never works out. We've at least been doing this long enough to know that. You know, we're not an everyday podcast like some trying to make it big into the big times. So we're just a little old podcast, been around for a little bit, and plan on sticking around. Longevity is key. Therefore, we work at our own pace. Right? I mean, that's how I see it.
Yes, sir.
All right. So, look. Tiniest bit of football. A little bit of Boeheim's Army news. And then we'll get into the tournament stuff. I got no reads again. We're just not in demand. And that's fine. I'm fine with that right now. I'm fine with it up until football starts. Absolutely fine with it. Up until football starts. So,
right.
Unlike Joe, this is Joe's time of year where he starts fiending for sports, podcasts, whatever he can get his hands on. So it's difficult for me because I'm checked out. This is my checked out moment from mid-July to late August is my checked out time. And here I am. Anyway, it's because I love Joe and I love you guys. So the timing of this show could be a little better, seeing that ACC Media Day starts tomorrow and through Thursday. And it's going to be in Charlotte. This is real close to Joe. Joe, you going? No?
No.
Okay.
No.
Anyway, Syracuse
Don't have the creds, man, you know.
I know, and you know what? We've been at this long enough. The creds still aren't here, despite all of the tries, which I mean, we haven't. But we're not getting one even if we did, which is why we haven't. ACC Media Day, tomorrow and Thursday, for Syracuse football. Sending, of course, Dino Babers, Garrett Schrader, Bergeron, and Jones, Michael Jones, Matthew Bergeron. If we could, we would get back here to do maybe a montage or something. If there's something good enough, that's a possibility. Okay? I don't know. I don't want to promise anything, but unfortunately, this is the day that this show had to be done, and it's just bad timing. So anyways, Joe, what do you think? What are we looking for? Sending Garrett Schrader, that's a tell, right? You know, I mean, it's just the obvious. If there was any speculation, I feel like it should be put to rest with that. And then Matthew Bergeron and Michael Jones, what do you think?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Obviously, there was, some people, and I know that I think we're on the other end of this, that I don't really, Schrader had some bad throws, and obviously we were more of a running team last year, but that was probably the best offense that we've had since Dungy left last year when Garrett Schrader took the helm. And, we've spoken in other podcasts about how these coaches that we brought in really have, massaged, athletic run-first quarterbacks in college in the past to allow them to be actually good enough passers to make it to the pros. So I kind of had no doubt in my mind that he was going to be the starter, and I mean, there was even people there, Dan Villari and this and that. And then we got the Carlos Del Rio Wilson. And then everyone was like, oh, 4-star from Florida. He's definitely going to come in. Like, he missed spring ball. He's coming in. He hasn't really even played or have any type of experience like Schrader had. So
and we went over all that in depth. I feel.
Yeah, we went over all that. Yeah.
So that's not
again,
that podcast. That podcast is not that far back. You can look at it.
No, absolutely not. And realistically, I mean, the only way that Del Rio Wilson plays this year, I think, is an injury. To be perfectly honest with you, there's some people that still think that Schrader might end up playing his way out, or maybe Del Rio plays his way in because he picks up the offense in the midseason. But I think, last year we were the only team in the ACC that did not send a quarterback to ACC Media Day. And this year there's like 4 or 5, I think, 3 or 4, something like this, that haven't. And we're one that does. So I think it's an absolute tell that this is going to be, the play caller, starter, QB1 come game 1. We're not going to be dealing with what we dealt with last year for the first 3 or 4 games. So, and as far as Mikel Jones, I mean, I'm just glad that he's here another year. I truly believe that he would have got drafted. But, this year he's out to prove something. And obviously, I don't know, this could be Bergeron's last year too, the way that he's been progressing since his freshman year. So I think we got 3 strong representatives on top of Babers. I know some people are, hey, where's Sean Tucker? This isn't Sean Tucker's thing. Amazing Twitter guy, right? But as far as sitting in front of a room full of media and answering questions, that's just not his thing. So
we've compared him to Marshawn Lynch.
Right.
I'm just here so I don't get fined. And
I don't think he pulled that stunt.
No. But I'm just, in comparison, I'm just saying he's a man of few words.
Yeah.
Period. For different reasons.
Yes.
Right? So, he lets his talking happen on the field. And that's a good way to be humble about things.
Yeah. So, right. I mean, it's tomorrow and it's Thursday. And, I mean, I always look forward to listening to the interviews and the questions and the things going on. So,
yes,
gets my blood going.
Yeah,
for football, so I'm ready.
We know. What is around the corner, though, that I do look forward to is the basketball tournament and Boeheim's Army defending their title. Obviously, you all know that. If you're listening to us, you probably already know that. Added a couple players. Jimmy Boeheim goes without introduction, right? Really cool. And we've all lived long enough to see an actual Boeheim in Boeheim's Army. I had a feeling we speculated it was a possibility early, and then we saw the first 9 come out, and it seemed like that first 9 was going to be it. And I didn't expect anybody. And then preceding Jimmy Boeheim, Matt Morgan from Cornell, an actual teammate of his, you got to wonder if this was planned in advance, maybe. One of the second leading scorer in Ivy League history, a guy who dumped 26 on us a few years back. I think it was 4 years ago. A guy who just led his, I don't know the name of the team, but his Turkish team, I believe, to a national title there, and was the leading scorer on that team. So a guard, so a player. This dude can play. This is a huge get in Matt Morgan.
Well, yeah, and there's some ties there, because I'm pretty sure that we talked earlier about Tyler Ennis in Wiltshire, and Poston, right? That's his name, right? That other guard from Mississippi State.
Poston.
All those guys played in Turkey. And then Matt Morgan being an upstate New York guy, plus he played with Jimmy Boeheim. So who knows? There could be a bunch of different connections in there. But, getting another guard, I liked. I know that there were some people I saw on some message boards that were like, Boeheim's Army, now it's, 10 players, 5 guys aren't even in Syracuse. We got to keep it above 50% type. And then we go and we get Jimmy. And I don't think he didn't play that much in summer league. I don't think he's got an invitation to a team for preseason, which is why he is eligible to play. And you get him in there. I don't know how much he's going to play, but at least that gets us to 6 Syracuse guys, 6 Syracuse alum, and 5 in the other. So, now it's still technically Boeheim's Army, especially because there's a Boeheim.
Now it's
on the
really
roster,
Boeheim's Army. Now it's really
Right.
Boeheim's Army. So,
Yeah. And I think there was something out there too. There was an article about Matt Morgan and his dad. I guess there was rumblings that his dad wasn't too happy because his dad actually played at Georgetown.
oh really? Tough
Yeah.
shit. Tough shit, pops.
I think it was one of those things where his dad played at Georgetown, and then I don't think that we offered him a scholarship, and he excelled at Cornell, like you said. And one of the times we played against him, he scored 26 points against us. And then he comes out and he plays for Boeheim's Army. So I guess there was a little riff in the family a little bit, but I'm sure he'll get over it.
I'm sure if Boeheim's Army happens to go back to back and he gets a chunk of that, he'll take his pops out to eat. Forget about it. Okay.
Or if he plays good enough to where he gets a NBA contract like Kiefer Sykes, and that'd be pretty nice too, huh?
I mean, it's a total possibility. This is
So your son doesn't have to play in Turkey.
This is Scout Central. You know what I'm saying? It is.
Oh yeah.
It is the becoming one of the best hot spots for such a thing. So there's talent just all over the place, and if you can rise,
A lot of ex-NBA players.
yeah, and if you can rise up through the be the cream of the crop in a crowd like this, you're gonna get noticed. So he's got the talent. And he just graduated in 2019, so he's only been after this professionally for 3 years.
Yeah.
So, still young.
I'll take it.
Still young, yeah. Okay, so Boeheim's Army is going to face off in their first game against India Rising. It's July 22nd at 7 p.m. And, I did get my phone fixed. Went on vacation last week. I was doing the picture thing on vacation, like typical vacationer. And I was like, dude, got to get this phone fixed. The screen's killing me. I can't even see these pictures. So I got the phone fixed, but what I'm not going to do is attempt a ton of these names. So what I'm going to do is...
Oh, come on.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to send this over to Joe. And this team's full of, obviously, what India Rising. It is Indian heritage players from all over the world. And this is their first year in the TBT, okay? So it's going to be interesting. I don't know much about these players. Haven't heard. None of these names were familiar to me when I first checked them, and as I look at them now, they're still not. I don't know if a lot of these guys are related or what, but Joe, that's why we bring Joe here. There's a lot of Sharmas. So that's why we bring Joe here, okay? He's going to be able to give us the insight, which is what we're looking for, because they're not getting it from me. By the way, these guys, most of them, except for one, I think, attended college in the States. So, Joe.
No, there's a lot that, yeah.
Yeah. So, what do you think, Joe?
I don't.
You don't.
Look,
exactly. All right.
I think this, right?
It's a tough one. It's a tough one to evaluate. And I'm not making jokes. I'm being serious.
No, it is. And, we talked about, the TBT, and we talked about the bracket challenge, right? And we talked about trying to get, we kind of advertised to get it out there so that people could possibly go and fill out a bracket and maybe give you something to, cheer for and everything like that. And just for, kind of perspective, there has been 4 regions already played out as far as like first round, and a couple 5s beat some 4s, and there was 1 6 seed. Big 5 beat the expats in the Rucker Park region. So a 6 seed beat a 3 seed. So as far as first round goes, it looks like the 1 2s and the 3s, except for 1 round so far, have pretty much taken care of business. Now, I'm not to say that some of them have been haven't been close. I mean, sideline cancer, a 2 seed only won by 1 point. There's another 2 seed in the Rucker Park. They only won by 1 point. Some of these 1 seeds didn't really have the easiest go at it in the first round. But
does it make you nervous?
No, it doesn't make me nervous. Looking at this team, I just don't know if they're going to have the just the overall
depth,
experience and the size. I think that we have a little bit. They got a couple guys that are up there, 6'9". Principal Singh, 6'9". Sukmail Mathan, 6'10". He played at Boston University. Other than that, they got some 6'6" guys, and they got some guys that played in some decent colleges. Arizona State, Hawaii, Maryland, like you said. But there's a lot of one guy's Stanford. But there's a lot of University of Western Ontario and North British Columbia, University of Calgary, those kind of things. So, I mean, these guys are D1 guys, and it's not to say that they're not going to give us a run because, it's a game for $1 million. And like you said, they're out there for a purpose, right? They've never had a team. It's their first year being in there. And this is, obviously them bringing together the world's best Indian origin players. And they're going to want to show out. They're out there to prove that, that people from India and
Can
India
ball.
people play basketball and
right.
They're good. And, there's, it's definitely like that. We've seen the basketball game grow in other countries. And this is just another country that just wants to prove that they got ballers too. And sometimes that can be dangerous when you have something other to play for than just money. And I'd be willing to bet that there's not a lot of egos out there because I don't think a lot of these guys are making a boatload of money playing basketball. So, I mean, that's a dangerous team. But, the 1 seeds haven't lost. And we're playing in Syracuse. And I would just like to think that we're not going to have a problem with this team. You know what I mean? But at the same time, all of these players on all of these teams are good players. You get to this point, you get to a point where you get through D1 basketball and you're playing professionally. I mean, you're a pretty good player.
Yeah, I would say so, obviously. And, being a specialty team like that, which it's the culture of the tournament. You have these specialty teams that are very specifically oriented with their players, right?
Right.
You're going to get the best of the best. And, even teams that may not be able to compete as well are still filled with obvious talent. So I don't see Boeheim's Army having a problem here. And, I'm just not that worried about it. So,
I mean, so they do got one guy that I missed. That I do actually remember. He played at Stanford, and he's a 7-foot center. So there's another guy that's got some height. So they do have some height. Josh Sharma. And actually, the head coach is Ajay Sharma. So maybe we got some relatives here in this. But again, I've seen situations. I watched the other day. I actually filled out the bracket like I was telling you in that 1 seed Young Guns clan. And that's one of those things. They had a bunch of ex-NBA players that were out there trying to show out. And it seemed like they were out there trying to win a contract or be out there for themselves versus playing like team basketball. And I had that team because of the talent. I had them going to the championship actually to play Boeheim's Army. And the other night they lost to HBCU United, which is a team filled with players that played at only HBCU schools. And I'm telling you right now that team was coached. They played together as a team. We all know that you got to have gritty defense in this tournament. And they went out and they beat them. So the team I had going to the championship against Boeheim's Army is already out, second round from a 4 seed. That's probably the biggest upset so far in the tournament. And, that's what we want to avoid. You can look at the names on the jerseys and, he got drafted. He used to play for this team, blah, 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 blah. One team's got like Trevor Booker who played in the NBA for like 8 years. But how are they going to play as a team? And are they going to play defense? Are they going to buy in? All this stuff matters. I mean, when you get to that level, one-on-one ball isn't going to win. It's how you play as a team. And I can see a team like India Rising being that, playing real smart together. And again, like we said, for a bigger cause than just money.
Did you say that was the Marcus Smart team? Is that who you're talking about?
No, it's not the Marcus Smart team. No, it was the Young Gun Clan.
Yeah. That's it.
The
Young Gun
Rucker
Clan.
Bark. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, Marcus Smart's team. Yeah.
Okay. All right, moving on back to the Syracuse region. So you got our picks. That's easy, right? So for me, now I'm going to run through these kind of blind. Okay, not blind. I mean, I looked at them. But the way I see this, okay? I'm going to give my predictions, and then we'll go from there, okay? That's what we're going to do? Is that how you want to do this?
Cool. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Oops. Hold on. All right. So the nerd team, which is like Prentice Hub, Paul Atkinson, those are going to be the names that are big. Any more big ones in there? Jalen Kendrick. That's pretty much it. So, you got Prentice Hub. He hates Syracuse. So he's determined. You get the determination factor in there too. That's another factor and he's a feisty dude, and we all know that. So that's the nerd team, right? What are they backed out of, Joe? First of all, this is their second year. Their all-time record's 0-1. Just top academic institutions from around
I mean, there's a lot
the
of guys
country.
that are from Yale,
Yeah,
Harvard,
right.
Notre
Stony
Dame,
Brook,
Brown.
Notre Dame, right. So Yale and Notre Dame and Paul Atkinson's in his...
So Jordan Brunner's even Yale, and then he went to Alabama. He's pretty good. He transferred out of there. He's 6'10".
And then you got the Brown and White. They're playing Brown and White, which is a St. Bonaventure alumni. Now, there's a ton of them on here, like that you're going to remember from past NCAA tournaments. And this team, to me, is going to be a tough, I think. Marcus Posley. This is going to be Michael Davenport. This is going to be a good team, right?
Courtney Stockard. I remember him.
Yeah. There was another one I saw in here that I remembered.
Stockard, I think we played a couple years ago when we played St. Bonaventure.
Damn, I can't find him. Anyways, it's another team. It's a star. So this is a Bonnie's all-star team. Okay, so in that situation, the nerd team's of 4. Brown. No, that wasn't it. Brown and White.
Idris Taki, I remember him.
Do you? I'm trying not to stall here because I got all these up, but yeah, I don't know.
So who's your pick, man?
All right, so my pick is the Brown and White. They're the 5 against the 4. Brown and White, I think, beats nerd team, the nerd team. I'm just looking at pure talent, dude.
Too.
That's what I'm looking at.
I'm right there with you.
In my opinion, they just got more. Okay. Friday Beers, which is formerly Armored Elite, they're a 3C taking on Mental Toughness. Now, Mental Toughness was the one that I didn't. This is their second tournament. They're 0-1 all time. So, it's their second appearance. Didn't do great. Looking for a bounce back, right? Let's see. They're just JKC Foundation Mental Health Advocacy Organization. So there you go. That's what they're fighting for. Not a ton at DeBose.
DeBose is the only one I... Yeah.
Yep. But nobody else on here rang my bell. I didn't recognize not a near, not a face, not a near, not a name. So... that's it. And he was what? Wake Forest? He transferred to Wake Forest.
Yeah, he transferred to Wake Forest out of Houston Baptist. Yep.
Yeah. So, All right, that's Mental Toughness. Friday Beers. We mentioned them last time, formerly Armored Elite, and they are. This is their, eighth season. Their overall record's 14-7, and they're one of the Armored Elite. What they used to be is they're one of the most well-known names if you've been watching TBT for any amount of time. But I got to be honest, man. Friday Beers is a hell of a TBT basketball team name. That is a great name. I would almost root for them. Almost. Undisputed Kings of the Weekend. So they make up for lack of physical ability with extreme knowledge of hoops gathered over the years. And, I just run through here again. And, Joe, I just didn't really see anybody that stuck out to me. So, and they don't look unathletic either, by the way. So
what's that?
They don't really look that unathletic. Maybe Rusty Featherstone, a 5'11" center from Rollins College.
Fake. I think some of this is fake. The power forward, Liam Culla.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I think those are just,
Just sticking them in there.
But I do know Josh Perkins was a good guard that played at Gonzaga. And Eric Griffin, I think, had a little bit of run in the NBA. He's 6'8" power forward. So I do notice some guys that were pretty good. So, it ought to be interesting.
This one's tough, but I would say I'm just going to go off of name and history in the tournament and say Friday Beers takes the 3 seed over the 6 seed. Okay. This is the funnest one besides ours. Actually, Nerd Team Brown and White's going to be fun too, I think. But so that's 3/4 of the tournament or this region. Mm-hmm. So anyway, the Blue Collar U, the Buffalo University alum, is this is their I think it's their third showing. They're 4-1.
I think
Is it the second?
It's got to be their second. If they never won, so they must have made it pretty far last year.
Okay, all right.
Didn't we play them like the semifinals or something?
No, I don't think we did.
Yeah, the 2021 semifinalists have their sights firmly on winning $1 million this year.
Well, it's funny.
So they made it to the semifinal.
Okay, all right. Well, not an ear, not a name that I remember. And we didn't play him that long ago in real NCAA hoops history. Oh, Massenberg?
Really?
CJ Massenberg. There we go.
Oh, CJ Massenberg was absolutely a beast.
Yes.
He can shoot. Dante Carruthers, I remember him as well,
okay.
point guard.
Yep.
I remember Jeremy Harris. I definitely remember Nick Perkins, the center. Yeah, they got a team, man. Buffalo's been good, too.
Yeah, they've been good. They're talented.
In real life. I mean,
Yeah, they're talented. In real life, yes.
Right. Yeah, no, I'm saying, yeah. So, yeah, this team is definitely loaded with some scores. I know Nick Perkins is a big body at 6'8", Jeremy Harris at 6'7", Montel McRae at 6'10", 6'8" for Xavier Ford. I mean, yeah, they got a little bit of size. I don't know how deep it goes, but they damn sure got guards that can score.
They're a 2 seed, so they're getting the respect that they think they deserve at a 2, or maybe they're not. A 2 seed, I think, is pretty good for them. Taking on the 7 seed NG Saints. See, my hope is that Boeheim's Army, the NG Saints upsets all the way to the end of this region here with Boeheim's Army. That's my hope, because that would be great. And for obvious reasons, we've talked about it before. This is the Philly High School, Newman Goretti, right? Newman Goretti.
Yep.
Newman Goretti High School in Philadelphia. And familiar faces Rick Jackson and Scoop Jardine. As well as... Exactly. So...
oh, come on.
I'm
really?
just playing. I'm looking.
So last year, when I look back, first round, they were
Jaquan Newton.
7 or yeah. They were a 7 seed or something like that, and they actually gave Everlane Drive a really good game. And looking at them now, I mean, Philadelphia, they're known for basketball, their toughness and stuff like that. So, I mean, obviously, Scoop Jardine, I know, I remember Cosby Roundtree, he played at Villanova, 6'9" guy. Jaquan Newton from Miami, I think we should all probably remember him. And then I also remember Lamar Kimball, who played for Louisville, I think his last year. So
yeah, he's a transfer.
He wasn't their star, but he did come off the bench and play. So when I actually looked at the roster, they got some talent. I'm actually surprised that they're a 7 seed. I thought that they with this roster and what they're showing last year that they could have been ranked a little higher. So just like you, I mean, I kind of hope that they come out and they surprise the hell out of Blue Collar U and get that W, because I mean, to me, yeah, there's definitely some talented teams, and Friday Beers is pretty talented, but so Brown and White as well. But if we can get Blue Collar U out early in this region, then that just amplifies tremendously our percentage and chances of getting through this region. Well,
I mean, it's going to be my upset pick. If I had to pick one, I feel like I should. I feel like I should. You can do whatever the hell you want. I feel like I should because it's fun, and picked the nerd team over. Did I pick the nerd team over Brown and White? I did not.
No, you picked Brown and White. We both picked Boeheim's Army and Brown and White.
Yeah, so, I mean, Brown and White over the nerd team is a 4 and a 5. It's not really that big of an upset. So, anyway, that's going to be my upset pick, NG Saints. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, that would be, as a Syracuse fan, I mean, I think that you're looking at, I mean, that's probably the dream matchup, right?
It would be fun.
We see a 7 seed in the third round to get through the region to go on to Dayton, and it just happens to have 2 ex-Syracuse players. I mean, then yeah, that would definitely be fun. I'm looking at it like I'm going into this like, obviously teams can have bad showings and everything, but I'm going into this assuming that it's going to be Boeheim's Army versus Blue Collar U come Monday for the championship. I hope I'm wrong. I hope it's the NG Saints. It'd be great. But yeah, I mean, I'm right there at the point where, that's what I'd like to see, and we can only pray. Give it something to look at. I'm definitely going to check out that game with Scoop and Rick for sure.
Yeah, and it's going to be tough because when this tournament started, Joe was like, "Oh, you watching any of the tournament?" I'm like, "Dude, honestly, I really can't sit there on ESPN3. I just can't bring myself to do it. There's so much to do."
No, especially with a broken phone.
Yeah, well, that too. I would have got an iPad or something, or slung it to the TV. But I'm not inside during the summer. I'm not going to sit inside and watch ESPN3 all day. But
right.
This day, Friday, the 22nd, is going to start at noon with the 3 seed Friday Beers versus 6 seed Mental Toughness, and then at 2:00. That game's on ESPN. Then 2:00 on ESPN3. They're both on ESPN3. Sorry, the 2 seed Blue Collar U versus 7 seed NG Saints. And then at 5:00 on ESPN3, the nerd team 4 seed versus 5 seed Brown and White. And then you get to them. Our game at 7:00, primetime game for us, is on ESPN at 7. So,
oh yeah,
I would love to watch this whole region. I'm going to have to figure out what I can do. Plus, I'll be at work probably for the first 2 games anyway. So,
right.
Hopefully, I can figure that one out. It's much easier to watch ESPN3 when if I'm able to be at my desk. If I'm able to be there, that would be
right
ideal. So at least for, I don't know. I'm usually out of the office by 12 in the field, so by long before 12. So we'll see what happens. But I know Joe doesn't do anything at work, so he could probably watch them.
No, here we go.
But I just think it sucks that these games are on ESPN3. And I know it's just probably going to be the first round and some of these teams you haven't heard of, but you can't get a 2 seed on ESPN. And we just ran the ACC Takeover Day, where you had, this was Saturday, right? Where you had Syracuse take over ESP or ACC network, and I just feel like I know there's money involved in things, but I mean, instead of watching repeats of Syracuse games, which somebody lost close and somebody won close, and they were all good games, and that's great, but I would rather watch the TBT. I feel like it's a missed opportunity for people. I don't know. I guess this is an ESPN thing, so there's that.
Yep.
Right. So you have one network that just monopolizes the whole thing, and they force you on their app, which costs money, and you have to watch from your phone or a device or get the app and put it on your TV and go through all the hoops, and it sucks.
No, it definitely. And the worst part about that too is that, I mean, for the most part, you lose internet. You can't watch it at all, right? So,
well, I mean, unless you can use your hotspot, but then again, you can't sling it unless you hook your TV up to your hotspot and then sling it to your TV. Everything's got to be on the same Wi-Fi. That's how mine works.
Right.
So, which,
It's
I
crazy.
mean, it's not even that, really. It's that it's just, the wealth can't be shared here. ESPN, who owns ESPN? ABC? Like, they own like half of the channels.
Right.
And in Disney, right? Isn't ABC, ESPN, and Disney? Isn't that all the same company? As far as the media
think so.
goes, I believe it is.
I don't really even pay attention anymore. So.
I believe it is. Put it on Disney Plus. The hell, live streaming.
Well, man, that's my thing. Is that it's like you're telling me that, like, with no, I don't say no sports, but with,
Again, that's
you know,
a streaming thing, though. But yeah,
right. Well, it's a slow time of sports in the middle of the summer, and now you got this basketball tournament, and maybe it's just because there's base in Boeheim's Army, and we just like care. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if like Duke fans who don't have an alumni team in there, or who knows if there's even a Duke player that plays in this thing.
well, they're too good. They're too good for this, dude. They're too talented for this stuff.
But did you see what I'm saying though? Is like, but they don't even have like a player, two player, you know. So I don't really, you know. Sometimes I was thinking about it the other day, and maybe it's just a situation where there's a big, huge part of the country that just does not care about this. But you'd like to think that, you know, with it being slow in sports, that if they put it on TV, you can get people to watch it. You know, no one's watching it on ESPN. No one's going to go. If you don't care about it, you're not going to go find it on ESPN3, right?
This thing has grown so much, and how has it grown? It's grown by word of mouth and putting it on TV. As sure as shit hasn't grown from forcing people to an app. There's no way. And let's be honest.
Mm-mm.
Let's be honest, and let's pound our chests a little bit. Boeheim's Army is one of the teams that makes this tournament popular because of its fan base. And there's a region in Syracuse there was last year, was there not? There was. And there was one there's one this year. And you know, they don't do that just because they got nowhere to go. They do that because they know they're going to get a raucous crowd, and they're going to sell the seats. So it's good for the tournament. And Syracuse, Boeheim's Army is good for the tournament. And Syracuse fans are good for the tournament. So when we look at this, we don't look at it we don't look at it very objectively, and we look at it kind of selfishly. And that's okay, because we kind of rule this thing, especially now that that Boeheim's Army is defending champions. I mean, if they were going back to back, I mean, oh my gosh. Could you imagine?
Yeah, well, I mean, and also too, we also kind of got to be honest with ourselves too about, we're just talking about the first round for the most part, right?
Yeah.
I
And I mentioned that.
Go down the line, like as you get to the next round, you know, like we play on ESPN, the rest of our games in our region that day are on ESPN3, right? But
yeah,
you look to the next day, both of those games, second round games, are on ESPN. And then from then on out, pretty much all the games are on some type of ESPN, ESPNU, ESPN2. So maybe it's just a situation where
there's
so many teams that, you know, the first round they got to just spread it out on ESPN3.
There's 4 including ours, 5, 6, 7 games in the first round that are on ESPNU, ESPN2, or ESPN. So there's just not many. They're just going to pick the best ones, the best teams, the most popular teams. So.
Oh yeah, I mean they do. Then and you could tell that part of it was like I think half of the first round games at Rucker Park because that's an interesting place to have a region outside in a arena with a guy with a microphone, talking about the game as it's going on. I mean, I watched one part where a guy was up near there on the free throw line near the end of the game, and he was like, "Now he's got to make the free throw," and he starts doing like the boom boom. Boom, boom. And he's like doing like the heartbeat over the microphone while this guy's trying to shoot a free throw like at the end of the game. Like, so it was definitely a little different and I liked it. But yeah, it's that's why they're on there. And then all the other games that have been, as far as first round games that have been televised on a station like that is because they're, a better team that's got the stars, right? The players' names that pop, You throw Boeheim's Army on, you know what I mean? There's no legitimate college basketball fan that were to sit down and watch Boeheim's Army that doesn't know at least a handful of people on that team, right?
Yeah, there's the Miami team. That's the only other team I think that's on regular ESPN besides us. So, I mean, you can run through it and look, but. Anyways, I just wanted to complain, just to kill time.
No,
it's always fun to do. So
it worked.
Yeah, it worked. Yeah. All right, Joe. Anything to add? Anything you're looking for in ACC Media Day that would promptly bring you back here? Or are we just gonna wait this thing out and see if maybe it's worth putting a montage together? And playing it by ear.
I mean, yeah, I would probably play it by ear. I mean, are there things? I mean, we could talk for another half hour.
Yeah, we're not going to do that, though.
Would make me come back here and want to talk about that, right? But it's a situation where, I mean, we know that Babers holds his cards tight to his chest, right? Garrett Schrader, they kind of all do the same, So.
You're not going to get a ton of information.
But you're not going to get a ton. Yeah. Not enough that's going to make us come back. I'm sure that as we start to ramp up and get closer to football and we do more about a football preview episodes and stuff like that, we might circle back on some things that were said.
Circle back?
Well, I hate using that, to be perfectly honest with you, but it's only because it's just whatever. Anyway, yeah. I'm sure that we'll be able to go back to certain things that were said in comments and stuff like that. But as far as coming back here, like this week, next week, just to talk about what was said at Media Day, I don't know.
Yeah. So we will, once the break to Dayton comes, or if there's time, let's be honest, right? There's time to do it.
I mean, I'd like to. Yeah. I mean, it's time, but it's also, I mean, if we get the break between Dayton, I'd love to, because then we can hit a little bit of that, and then we can talk about, obviously, what happened, if we're still playing, if we're not, what happened, right? What went wrong or what went right, depending on if we're still in the bracket.
Either way, super excited to just see how this team gels. That's the important thing. That's what was awesome about last year's team, There isn't really any selfish players. There's some playmakers. I mean, they all had their moments.
Yeah.
Some more than others.
Well, I mean, yeah. And last year we had to have people step up and do that kind of thing. And that's the one thing is that I'm nervous about going into it more than anything is that last year we don't win that tournament. I don't even know if we win the first two games or get out of the first weekend without Tyrese Rice. And then we don't win that tournament without Kiefer Sykes. And both of those guys aren't on our team anymore. So there are going to have to be people that step up and take the reins. DJ Kennedy was slated as one of the best scorers in TBT, I think, if not the number one overall scorer. And, he really didn't hit the mark last year. And, Rakeem Christmas, Mark, are they going to move the needle? Tyler, are those guys going to be the guys that come in and make or is it going to be more of a team-oriented, move the ball around kind of thing, right? But we know they need to play defense, and I think they got the grit and the toughness and the size to do that. So their defense will keep them in games. But I'm worried about the scoring and how you make up Tyrese Rice and Kiefer Sykes. And
Well, if you can get some,
only time shall tell.
Yeah, and you can keep a low-scoring battle too. That's always worked in.
So, hey, look, we talked about that even in Syracuse, right?
Yeah.
I mean, when we had Tyus Battle and those kind of guys where it was just hero ball, but we had a top 20 defense, and it kept us in games.
Well, you're going to get everything you can get from Mark. I mean, we already know that, so we didn't even have to.
I think this team knows what's up. We got guys that are doing what they're doing. I mean, we got a whole bunch of experience. We got guys that are willing. I think we got guys that are
Ennis
want to
is
come
fresh.
in and show out.
Ennis is fresh.
Yep.
Then stopped. Christmas. Just an animal.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the ones that obviously, because it's new, right? Those ones I love, and then Jimmy. But I just don't know how much we'll see Jimmy. But I think, Mark is what I'm most looking forward to. That's just a fan favorite thing for me, man.
I know you love that dude. I know.
I do.
I know.
So, anyways, all right, that is going to do it for us, folks. Thanks for listening to us jabber about this
Jibba jabba.
This tournament we don't know much about. So if you made it this far, we love you. You're hardcore. We appreciate it. But that's going to do it until we come back next time. For Joe, I'm Sean. We're out.